Good evening. I'm Olivia Calfee. Nicholasville police say they're investigating a string of thefts from vehicles. Dozens occurred in just one night. In some cases, firearms were stolen. It's an issue that isn't unique to Nicholasville. As Samantha Valentino shows us, Lexington police are working to crack down on stolen guns here as well.
In Kentucky, leaving your firearm unattended in your vehicle isn't a crime. However, the ATF says it could lead to crimes being committed, as stolen firearms are a major source of guns used in crimes.
I think that sometimes that we don't think of the far-reaching consequences of leaving a firearm in our vehicle. And you know, we're all human, we all make mistakes, and you may get out, be in a hurry, and forget to lock your car, but then your firearm is taken from the vehicle, and who knows whose hands it's going to end up in after that.
According to Lexington police, 475 guns were reported stolen last year. 411 of those were stolen from a vehicle.
We all know that larcenies from vehicles is a big issue, and it also turns into an even bigger issue when some of those cases have firearms that are removed from the vehicles and then used in crimes that occur within the city.
Detective Kristen Klingshirn is the Lexington Police Coordinator for Bluegrass Crime Stoppers. In January, they announced a partnership with the ATF to find stolen guns. Any tip leading to an arrest involving a stolen firearm will result in a $1,000 tip from Crime Stoppers, which will be matched by the ATF.
While the initiative has been successful, there is still money left, and that Crime Stoppers and the ATF is willing, depending on when the money runs out and the overall success, to maybe give more money, so we can always use more tips.
To prevent thefts from vehicles, Lexington police recommend removing any valuables, including firearms, from your car and locking and checking your doors. If you realize your firearm has been stolen, police say you should report it. In Lexington, Samantha Valentino, WKYT.
If an arrest yields more than one firearm, Bluegrass Crime Stoppers says an additional $500 will be added to the reward. Louisville Mayor Greg Greenberg announced LMPD Chief Jacqueline Gwen Villarole has been placed on administrative leave. The mayor says it stems from her handling of allegations regarding workplace sexual harassment involving officers. Mayor Greenberg says there is now an independent investigation. Deputy Chief Paul Humphrey will now serve as interim chief.
Well, today was the last day where we had temperatures below normal. Made it to 80 today. Normal is 82, and we're going to turn the temperature up several degrees as we go into the second half of the work week. Numbers for today made it to 80 in Jackson. Prestonsburg made it to 80. Pikeville 78. Jonesville made it to 82. 81 in London. 79 in Williamsburg. Here's the latest with live pinpoint Doppler radar showing a clean sweep across all of eastern Kentucky. This will get a break for the most part as we go into the next several days. As we're on the back end of a high pressure system, that's going to allow the winds to shift, and that's what's going to usher in the warmer temperatures starting tomorrow. Now, here's what we're going to talk about in the next check of weather. As mentioned, the warming trend's beginning. We were in the 80s today. Triple-digit heat indices not out of the question this week, and especially Sunday and Monday. And there is a chance of precip somewhere in the 7-day, and we'll talk about that in the first alert forecast in a few minutes. Olivia, over to you.
All right, Eric, thank you. We are getting some new numbers from FEMA about the ongoing recovery and aid approved for Kentuckians impacted by April's severe storms. As of Monday, FEMA says its individuals and households program has approved more than $385,000 in aid. More than 244,000 of that came from housing assistance. The rest came from other needs assistance. To apply for FEMA assistance, just go online at disasterassistance.gov, use the FEMA mobile app, or visit a disaster recovery center. Organizers with the Perry County Public Library are asking for pictures from one of Eastern Kentucky's historic events. Organizers are looking to preserve photos of the flood that happened back in July of 2022. Officials say any personal photos can be emailed or dropped off at the library. Officials will host a viewing of the photos on July 27th, along with their event Remembering the Disaster's Impact. AAA is finding that the interest in electric vehicles is on the decline, and instead Americans are turning to hybrid models. Only 18% of U.S. adults say they would be very likely or likely to buy a newer used electric vehicle, according to a AAA survey. That's down from 23% last year. Governor Andy Beshear has pledged to make Kentucky the EV capital of the U.S. The state has now approved 42 charging stations for a total of $27 million in federal funding.
Every single year, more Americans buy EVs than the year prior. There are two things that I think are needed for that to happen even more quickly. One is the price, which is why the Inflation Reduction Act acted to cut the price of an electric vehicle. The second is making sure we have the charging network we need across America.
Toyota announced this year a $1.3 billion investment in battery electric vehicle production at the Georgetown plant. The U.S. Senate is set to vote on the Right to IVF Act Thursday. The act would establish a nationwide right to in vitro fertilization, which accounts for about 2% of births nationwide. Senator Tammy Duckworth is one of the lead co-sponsors on the legislation. She says this act is essential after recent court rulings.
The ruling from Alabama Supreme Court that effectively labeled women who undergo IVF as criminals and our doctors as killers proved that we were right to be worried about after the Supreme Court threw out Roe v. Wade.
If the Right to IVF Act passes the Democrat-led Senate, it will likely not pass the Republican-led House. Well, it's a sad day in the basketball world. Hall of Famer and West Virginia native Jerry West has died at 86 years old. West had a career full of accomplishments. Keith Morehouse shares the legacy of Jerry West.
He was nicknamed the Zeke from Cabin Creek, and it was at East Bank High School where the basketball legend of Jerry West was born. He led the Pioneers to the state championship in 1956. After that, they changed the name of the school to West Bank for a day.
And I tried to tell my kids, this is how I grew up, and this probably has provided the foundation for the person I am today.
From there, it was on to Morgantown, where he carved his legend into the West Virginia landscape. He became a consensus All-American, helping the Mountaineers to the 1959 NCAA title game, where they fell to Cal by 1 point. And he was still named the most outstanding player of the tournament. West and the team came back to Morgantown to a hero's welcome when the team returned back from Louisville. He captained the 1960 United States Olympic team to a gold medal in Rome, and later that year he was drafted as the second overall pick in the NBA draft. Mr. Clutch led the Los Angeles Lakers to the World Championship in 1972, and he put together a 14-year Hall of Fame career. His mark forever etched as the NBA logo, the silhouette of West showing his monumental impact on the NBA and still West Virginia's most famous son.
That was Keith Morehouse reporting. Many of the current and past NBA greats we know and love look to him for guidance, and it shows in the outpouring of support we have seen across the United States today. And coming up on Mountain News at 11, rising temperatures means many folks in the Commonwealth will head towards the water to stay cool. We will share some tips to stay safe this summer.
And get ready to stock up on some high-quality H2O as we're going to see temperatures in the mid-90s for Sunday and Monday. Details of the First Alert forecast in a few minutes.